Hi, my name's Alex. Welcome to Reader Rambles, a weekly podcast where I ramble about bookish topics and I help readers navigate life. It's episode 9. Wow, I cannot believe I made it to episode 9 because I've just been tired. Honestly, I know, obviously I can take a week off if I need to, but my thing is the way I am is if I stop, then I will stop forever. And this is something that I like to do. But motivation is hard. So sometimes, honestly, it's Saturday at I think 5:50 p.m. And usually I do it on Wednesday is when I record, but honestly, this month has been so tiring. I just have a lot going on with work and just life, and I just haven't had the motivation for anything, which I've kind of talked about. And February is the shortest month, so that's another thing. It's the shortest month. I realized today, I think, or maybe yesterday, I was like, oh my god, the month is almost over. And that's not good because I literally haven't gotten any videos out that I wanted to. But I did have that whole laptop situation and all, so it kind of makes sense. Sorry to the people who are watching on video because, of course, like always, I am going to fix the video because I don't like that it's cutting off my head. Oh, there we go. So, hello. It is Saturday, and it is episode 9. Next week will be episode 10, which will be in my Patreon pick, so I already put a poll up for that, so if you're a patron, go and vote. I'm hoping that BuzzFeed Quizzes wins, because that was going to be this week's episode, but I'm doing a Q&A, because I got a lot of questions in my topic submission form, so I was like, oh, I guess we're going to answer some questions. So here we have it. When you use the topic submission form, please make sure that if you are submitting an actual topic, I'm cool with the questions. I think I'm going to try and have a Q&A episode maybe every month or so. So if you do have any questions that are respectful, I will get into that. Please leave them. I posted a video this week about my boundaries. If you missed it, please go and watch it, and please be respectful in the comments because I am very grateful for the nice comments and messages that I did get. But some people completely miss the point. So please, if you didn't understand it, go and watch it again and kind of reflect, because I have had such a draining week in terms of people not respecting me and not understanding that I'm a person that you don't really know. You know me from my content, but you don't know me in real life. So sometimes I get some invasive questions of people asking me if I'll tell them all about my experience as a trans guy, and I'm not here for that. I'm just a guy who happens to be trans, and that's it. So please, I would ask for you to not ask me questions about being trans. I love when everybody sends me messages about anything else, but also don't speculate about me at all. So I posted that video and I really feel good about it because I'm hoping that it'll help me a little bit and hopefully invoke some change, because I was kind of scared at first because I do have a small following, but I also need to hold my ground and set my boundaries. It's very hard to do that, but I'm really happy that I did and that I got the response that I did. Did I lower in sub count? Absolutely. But honestly, if you're not here to respect me, then I don't want anyone to follow me who's not going to respect me. I sometimes can't deal with people asking me about how I found out I was trans and if I could help them. I'm not a therapist and I am not a trans resource. Alright, well, my pop filter just fell off, so we're gonna have to take it off for today because I don't have the time or energy to deal with it, honestly. This episode has been all over the place, but in short, I just want everyone to remember to treat me with kindness and not be invasive, and just please respect my boundaries. I even made an Instagram post with more in it that I didn't get to touch on in the video, but I just want everyone to remember that I am only a trans guy on the internet who likes to make videos and talk about books. I just happen to be trans, and I'm not a trans resource for you. I have gotten many people ask me for advice about being trans, and it is a sensitive topic, and I am not here to help people through their journey. There are so many great trans creators on the internet that specialize in that. So if you are questioning your identity and you need some help, I suggest to go over to those resources. I linked them in the video. So if you haven't seen the video, highly recommend to do that. And let's get into the episode because I will come back to this topic, but I want to talk about what I'm currently reading and how my week has been besides all of that happening. My laptop is good. We're all good on that front. Like I said, I haven't gotten any videos done because I just have had so much shit going on. I just have such a busy month this month with like work and things, so I really haven't gotten to do the things I wanted to, and it's like by the end of the week I don't have the energy for anything, and honestly this podcast is just keeping me going with content. I'm like, if I at least do the podcast once a week, I'll feel fulfilled. Because I have a lot of videos, like I have a book haul that I need to edit, and I also need to film some things for because I have some things with that. But then also, I have my TikTok video that I mentioned, and I realized I mentioned that it was going to go up, and then it didn't, because that's just what happens. It's a very long video to edit, but also, I'm kind of sad because I didn't get to finish a reading vlog this month, and my icebreaker vlog, I keep thinking, I'm like, oh my god, my icebreaker vlog, I filmed in January, and it's probably not going to go out until March because I had all of this stuff go on. But honestly, I love this podcast because it gives me more content. So like if people don't get a video, they get this. And I'm loving it so far. I am still reading the same books. However, today I finished Know My Name by Chanel Miller, and holy shit, it was incredible. I love it so much. I started watching Oprah's interview with the author, and I am going to spend the rest of the day doing that. It was a phenomenal book. It was beautifully written. I have a whole notes app of what? I have a whole note on my notes app of the quotes because there's just so many great ones, which I will talk about in my January wrap up. So, yay me, I finally finished a book, my only book that I've read this month, because I just can't bring myself to read. And that is another problem. Honestly, I probably would not have gotten through it without this audiobook. Audiobooks are like a godsend, and I can listen to them when I'm not listening to podcasts and stuff. I just sometimes have a hard time just sitting down with a book, but I am currently reading physically, still reading Game On, but I also have The Wedding Date. I am now 38 pages in, and I'm obsessed. I love it so much. I can't wait to read more of it. Today, I was just sitting, and I woke up at like 9 a.m., and I was like, you know what? We're having a reading day, because I need to finish a book, because I just haven't. Like, even though I am doing quantity over quality, I am still a booktuber, and so I feel like that's also why it's like I want to film a reading vlog. I want to keep doing reading vlogs. I really want to do Wordle Picks My TBR, so hopefully I can do that in March. I know the trend will probably be over by now, but whatever, I'm still gonna do it. Even though the words are kind of harder now because the New York Times, like, honestly, this might be controversial, but I don't know big words, so I have to use Scrabble. I use the Scrabble website because honestly, at the end of the day, it's just a game, and I really don't care. Like, I'm not really getting anything out of it. I didn't start Wordle at like the start of it. I don't give in to hype at all, so I was like, oh, I'll download it when I watched Books of Lala's video. And then I was like, wait, that would be a fun idea. So then I watched a couple more videos. And honestly, every time I play Wordle, I look to see if I have a book. But most of the time I don't. Shake was a good one because I was like, oh, I could actually do that. But then I was thinking, do I really want to do that? Because I want to read my physical books, so it's kind of hard to do that because I'm not going to the library because I had a really big fine. I mean, it was only like $20, which is still a lot, and sometimes I can't get to the library, so I was like, you know what? I'm banning myself from going. So that's what's going on. But the wedding date is great. I'm really enjoying it. It has all of the fake dating. I really think that I haven't read a fake dating in a while or at all. Have I ever actually read a fake dating? Because, oh, I did. Oh my god. Duh. To All the Boys I Loved Before is a fake dating, and that's probably the only fake dating I have ever read. So I know I'm just gonna want to read all the fake dating, which is awesome because I have Hani and issues. But I love Jessamine Guillory. Honestly, if you want to get into romance, I highly recommend her. She's so awesome, and I'm obsessed with this. So that is what I'm currently reading. Let me know what you're currently reading, and if you are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, don't forget to rate on Spotify and leave a review so more people can find my podcast. And now let's get into the Q&A. That's all I wanted to say, right? Yeah, I said that I put out a boundaries video and a post on Instagram, and I got a lot of love. I got some people that completely misunderstood, but with the internet, that's always going to happen. I just want people to respect me as a person and a trans person because I just get tired when people disrespect me by wanting to use me as a therapist and wanting me to help people in their trans journey. There are many trans creators out there that use their platforms for that. I am not that guy. But I do have an advice segment on this podcast. If you do want to submit any problem, you can submit, and it'll be anonymous. You can send it to readerramblespodcast@gmail.com. But I will put out a disclaimer. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I am not going to help with heavier issues. I am not a therapist. So if you are struggling with your gender identity, I am not the person to go to because I am still a trans person who doesn't know a lot about being trans. I only know my experience, and that's not for people to know. That is only for me and my close friends and people I choose to tell to know. And that's it. So that's why we're going to start with my favorite question that I got that says, do you have any tips for being trans on YouTube, and what can you expect, and how do you deal with transphobia? This is the only time I will answer a question like this, but for further Q&A purposes, do not ask me any trans questions, please. But I will answer and say it is hard. Okay, let me actually think of an answer for this before I kind of go off the rails. Being trans on Booktube is very hard. I struggle a lot, just in general, because I say I don't want to talk about being trans. That is just one thing that I am, and that's not all of me. If you want a book recommendation, check out my channel. I do not blatantly talk about being trans. I will recommend trans books that I've read. I casually do it because, like I said, it's just a part of me. If you want book recommendations for trans books, you can absolutely come to me. I've gotten questions before that I'm totally fine with answering. For example, someone's reached out to me on Twitter and said, hey, my friend, their kid just came out as trans. Any recommendations for what they should read, and any for their kid that are middle grade or anything like that? And I will absolutely help you with that. That is one thing I will help with. But if you're going to be asking me questions that I'm totally uncomfortable with and want me to help you in the trans department, I'm really not. I just don't feel comfortable. I don't know, like I just don't feel like I'm like, oh, this is Alex, the trans YouTuber who talks about being trans and also does other things. No, I'm Alex, the trans booktuber who likes to talk about hockey. He reads contemporary books and likes to make creative content. I don't know. It's really hard sometimes because I'm like, oh, I kind of wish that I was included more. And I don't know if that's necessarily a trans thing or if it's just like Booktube is so big now that I'm small. I don't expect everyone to know me. So sometimes I'm like, am I relevant or am I not? Like, I don't know. It really surprises me sometimes when other booktubers like know me because I'm like, oh, you do? Because I just don't feel like I'm like really big. But I do wish that just trans booktubers were respected and shared more. I don't know. I just wish that, like, I always say that my biggest thing is, like, I really wish, I don't know. I wish that people would make more videos that do highlight other creators. And I would just say to protect yourself. And honestly, the reason that I don't talk about being trans is because transphobes exist. When I posted my video saying how much I was upset that the that author did that, I got a lot of transphobia and I deleted it. I loved being in the Queer Lit Readathon. It was like the highlight of my booktube experience. I was so happy doing that. So I would just say to expect transphobia and just like these kind of things to happen. I wish they wouldn't happen. I think Audrey wrote it best in their boundaries post on Instagram. They said that you should not use them as a search engine, and the same thing goes for me. You shouldn't use any trans creator or any marginalized person as a search engine. You, like, Google exists, YouTube is a search engine, and if you want to find a resource, you can find it. If you are looking for a resource, if you're like, hey Alex, who is a good trans booktuber that I should follow? Who is a good trans person that I can follow if I want to know more about this? Absolutely, I will do it. That is one thing I will do, but don't come to me personally being like, hey, I heard you're trans. I literally just found out this second. Will you now tell me everything about you? So I will say, expect that to happen because I came out as trans and I was like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. And then literally after I came out, someone misgendered me in a video. It's taken a few tries of me to figure out how I want to answer this question, but I would just say to keep your boundaries and make sure you're like stating your boundaries and what you want out of being a booktuber. I am not a booktuber who wants to give advice on being trans. You might be that person. So the thing about YouTube and booktube is everyone has a different thing to bring to the table. So depending on who you are and what you want to bring to booktube, I would say to just make sure you're very cautious and you're practicing self-care because a lot of me and my trans friends say that it's hard when people just kind of use us as a search engine and they just kind of demand a lot of things. I don't know. I think that there's a pros and cons. I'm helping people who may not have trans people in their life, or I'm helping trans guys or just anyone on the trans umbrella who just don't have a lot of friends who likes to read books and they love seeing a trans guy because, like I've said in my video, there's not a lot of us. I feel like I'm the guy most of the time. A lot of people are like, oh, you're a representation for me. And so I don't know. I think everyone can bring a different thing to the table, but just know that you're probably going to experience transphobia. But what I can say is, oh, bless the moderation on YouTube. You can edit to block out certain words in your comments. So I have my dead name there. I have a lot of personal information and a lot of other things that I don't want in there, like the T slur and stuff like that, people can't comment. On Instagram, there's a beautiful thing where you can only have people comment that follow you. When I posted a reel, I got a lot of that was like trans related. I think I was opening Both Sides Now or something like that. I decided to put on the filter where only people who follow me can comment. And that was amazing because I had gotten so much transphobia. But I don't know, it depends. I'm a very sensitive person. Sometimes you catch me on the wrong day and I'm like, oh my god, this has screwed up my whole entire day when I get a bad comment, because as a small creator, it's hard. And just as a sensitive person in general, it's very hard. My ears are ringing, so that's why I'm kind of pausing for a second. But we're all good now. I would just say to expect good and bad. Sometimes you're going to get people that are really happy to see you. Sometimes you're going to get somebody that just commented on your video, has literally just met you, and is like, hey, I have not watched any video but this one, and this is when I'm so angry about you. The delete and block button are your friend. And so that's how I deal with it. Block and delete, and make sure that people can't talk to you. Block and delete is great, but if you catch me on a bad day and I'm just like gonna curse you out, it might happen. If you're being transphobic is what I mean. I'm not gonna, if you send me a message, I'm not going to do that to you, but it depends what the message is. I might be very stern and be like, hey, don't ask me all about being trans. I am not a trans advice segment. I'm not the trans advice guy. I am just a trans guy who likes hockey and likes to talk about books, and that's it. So that took a while answering that question. um, I have good and bad days. I love my trans friends that I've met, so that's like a good positive. You're probably gonna meet a lot of good people, and also just the biggest thing is like getting. Oh my god, I got to interview Isaac Fitzsimons. Like, that was an amazing achievement of mine, that I got to interview a trans author who wrote a trans sports book. And that was just amazing. And it just made me want to be another trans author who writes about sports. And I just love that we're all coming together. It's all happening. If I'm going to talk about writing, oh my god, I still haven't done it. I don't know, man. This year has just been wacky because I wanted to do so many things and it just didn't happen. But, you know, we're still in a pandemic. It happens. It's just a lot. I guess that's kind of it. I don't know. You're gonna bring anything to the table. Like, everyone's their own person, so you're going to bring something new to the table. I am actually going to do an episode and a video on, like, oh, you want to start a booktube channel? It'll happen sometime. I just don't know when. It'll happen. So I will also answer the next question about YouTube. I hope that answered your question. Some days I like being trans on YouTube. Sometimes I don't, because sometimes somebody does something to violate my privacy and I don't like it. So I'm hoping that that will stop happening. Next is, do you have advice on filming good quality videos when you're poor? Or do you have advice about editing videos when you can't afford a good program? Now, from my experience, I didn't know how to edit. So I use YouTube as my friend. I have learned a lot from watching YouTube videos. That's how I know how to edit and use cameras and stuff. But the nice thing about Booktube is you don't need high quality. I know a lot of booktubers, I can't remember who it is specifically, but there's one pretty popular booktuber, or maybe like they're mediocrely popular, but I wish I could remember who it is right now, but someone that is successful and they film videos on their phone. And I don't see why you couldn't do that. It's pretty fine. If you have a laptop, you could do it on that. I know I used to film some videos on my laptop if I needed to. that's the good thing about Booktube. I would say just practice makes perfect. If you haven't talked in front of a camera before, practice. Just practice. My first video was horrible. It was out of focus. It was just, oh my god, it was so cringy, but you live and you learn, and honestly, I've been doing this for 8 years, and I feel like I still have a lot to learn. And any advice on editing videos when you can't afford a good program? I mean, there's ones out there. DaVinci is one you can download. I know Beck from Mooney Reads and Starlight, I know that they do edit on that because I was going to use it once and I was so confused, which probably isn't a good pitch, but you can use YouTube to figure out how to use it. Filmora is a good one. I know some people, I know Bear, I think it is, still edits on Windows Movie Maker. I could be wrong about that. My camera just shut off. There's ones out there, so if any of those are appealing to you, I'll have them linked below. But honestly, you use what you have. I think YouTube is... I think Cindy started filming on her phone. I'm pretty sure. Like, a lot of people have done that, so you can just do what you gotta do with what you have. I mean, I didn't have a camera at first. I stole my brother's camera when I first had it, so just do what you have to do. How do you get yourself excited to read super long books? By not reading them. Or getting the audiobook. Honestly, the audiobook for Know My Name was 15 hours, and there was just this one, I think it's The Good Girl's Guide, I just got from my library, and it says it was 10 hours, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so long, and I'm like, dude, you just did a 15-hour audiobook. 10 is nothing. But what I love about Libby is when you are listening to an audiobook, it actually tells you the statistics, which was so cool. So it was like, oh, it'll take you like a week to finish. So that was pretty cool. And then last is, do you have any tips on finding queer books or any really with good representation? Which I have to say, YouTube. Also, I'll link down below the LGBTQ Reads Tumblr page. I'll link that down below. That's where I find things. There's also the 2022 releases one. And so there, Instagram, it's really all about who you follow. So most of the time, like for instance, I'll just say myself, for example, you're going to find queer book recommendations on my channel for any genre. Well, not any genre, but any contemporary, any graphic novel, any nonfiction, and also like YA, adult, and middle grade, you'll find it here. I think you just need to know what you're looking for. Also would say, if it depends if you want to do a service or if you just want to do it for free, which totally is fine. But there's that TBR service. I've used it for Patreon, and I actually liked the experience. So what it is it's a recommendation service. I think you pay like $15 and you tell them everything that you like, what you don't like, what your trigger warnings are, and what you're looking for. And you can actually get a recommendation. You actually get 3 or 4 recommendations curated to you, and it's pretty cool. So I would say any of those things. But for the most part, if you are on YouTube and social media, you're going to find book recommendations there. You can also follow like queer imprints and things like that. Just check my show notes and I will have it down below and all. But like I said, I find it from queer people that I follow. It's all who you follow. If you're like, oh, I feel like I have no this, like, I don't know. Curate your space to what you want. But if you are looking for a specific recommendation, you can always ask me and I will help you out. And then I have a submission for International Book Cover. If you are going to submit a topic, maybe be a little bit more descriptive, because I don't know what International Book Cover means. It can mean anything. Okay, so this will probably be like a shorter episode again. I'm trying to get longer episodes, but it's kind of hard for me to talk long, which is really surprising. So that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I answered everyone's questions. And if you did, leave a nice comment on my boundaries video. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I just want everyone to understand and respect me and respect my space. So if you can do that, thank you. I appreciate you. Next week will be the Patreon pick. So if you're a patron, you can go and vote over there. And that is kind of it. I hope you're all having a great day and all. And I hope you have a good week. And I will see you later.